Alrighty, folks. Looks like we're actually, everything's working today. That's always nice. All right. Hey, folks. How y'all doing today? I am trying a one PC stream today, so we're going to see how that goes. But thanks for coming in, everyone. Appreciate you all being here. I will cut straight to the chase. A lot of people have been checking in on me and Mrs. Tomato today just to make sure we are okay after the earthquakes that happened in Turkey, and we are okay. The earthquakes were pretty far away from us, so we're unaffected. Most of the people who checked on me knew before I did. But it is a difficult day for the country and for people here, and so we won't spend too much time talking about it. But I just want everyone to know that any of the money that's coming in to this stream today, as far as like the money that actually YouTube and Twitch give us, is going to go towards helping out with the recovery in southern Turkey regarding those earthquakes. So we've already had some people reach out in terms of trying to support or asking for ways to help. And if you do want to help in any way, please reach out to us. We'll try to make it, easy to find a reliable way to assist. But besides that, we have a show of the community today. We're going to be talking about Star Citizen and its bugs and the things that have to do with that. So the way this works, for anybody who is new, in our Discord community, we have roles that are gifted to people based on their activity. And basically anybody who's gotten any of those roles, has been any bit of active in our Discord, has the ability to come onto this show and kind of just speak their mind about the topic of the month. So if you would like to be involved in that and you're watching this after the fact or even the live stream, consider jumping in the Discord, chat for just like a couple of days, and you'll be able to hop in on the next show. Hope you'll join us. Besides that, though, this all kind of came up after a video caught my attention. It was actually a video for a game that I really enjoy. It's also a game in early access. I guess I've already given away that it's not Star Citizen where this statement came from, but I was watching a video on a new update that they were putting out, and they spoke some things. They said some things into existence, and I was like, that sounds like the Star Citizen people. I wonder if I told people that somebody said this, how many of them would think it was Star Citizen people and not other people? And hold on a second. Wait for it. Which one is it? Here we go. As you can see, most people thought it was Star Citizen people. It's because it sounds like them. I don't blame them. But today we're going to start out with a prompt talking about who actually said that and kind of get into the discussion through that. Before we do get started, though, I got to say my highs. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Welcome into the show. Let me go down a list real quick. Let's see who popped in here. Punji, I see you. Toes Gang, at least, was the first who showed up on the app. How you doing? Good to see you. Lamad, welcome. Hello. 07's Magyon. Brian, good to see you. Jose. Everything is good on our side and with our family. Thank you. Why is this even a question? Obviously, yes. Geez, I don't even remember what the question was. Any new rumors on the Open PTU? Not that I know of yet. REA, hello. The Overachiever Guide to Games. Great. Shifty, good to see you. The Pun Live, welcome. J-Car Bray. Thanks, all of you. Nono Roboto. Welcome, folks. You would guess Kerbal. Was it satisfactory? They said must be satisfactory. They recently released a video about long-lasting bugs. Hey, for your records, I go into historical videos, all right? I'm not only watching brand new videos all the time. No, I totally am. How about we all journey together into the video that I'm referring to and get this show started, yeah? So I won't be interacting too much with chat because we'll be talking with people real time, but I'll read what you guys say. Don't think I don't see your cheeky comments. All right, here we go. Let me stop the music real quick. Sorry, with the one PC stream, it's going to be a little bit more janky than normal. Bear with me. Ultimate jank. More than the normal Space Tomato jank. Just a little bit more, though. It's not too bad. So, if this isn't already a dead giveaway as to what game I'm referring to, let's continue on. No sound. Get out of here. No, this is what this is what the freaking thing was doing. Why does this happen? This happened with the podcast the other day. Sound on video is okay. Let's see. What can we do here? Let me see if I can do a game capture. And let me see if I can game capture Google Chrome. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. Hold on real quick, guys. Because it's weird. I'm capturing the screen. It's not an OBS source. I'm literally just capturing the screen. It should just throw in here. Give me the sound, dang it. No voice? Can you not hear me either? Oh, that's all bad. Hold on, let me see. Okay. So that's coming through on desktop audio. Hold on, I'm going to show you guys how weird this is. Check this out. Here's a little peek behind the curtain. So, whoa! All right, you guys see the sound down here? Watch this. You see how it's definitely getting picked up by the stream. So, let's see. What can we do here? A little bit of a refresh. Check out our properties. Can't restart OBS. That'll restart the whole stream. I could put my earphones to the microphone like a crazy person. That would sound terrible. I won't do that to you guys. Don't worry. Okay. So you can't hear this, yeah? You guys could see the captions though, right? It literally doesn't make sense why this wouldn't work. Let's do a audio output capture. And I'll use the audio output of my GoXLR. And I'll plug that in on this channel.
That we've done before.
All right, how about now? Can you hear that?
In order to stabilize the game, when...
Come on, tell me that comes through. That's like a really weird... Yeah? Okay, cool. That is the stupidest workaround. I'm capturing the exact same audio as the other channel, but that's it's the best part of streaming. All right, let's actually watch the video now.
Stability. And so that's the first thing that can be detrimental to development. You know, chasing that perfect stability in a game is just going to lead us astray, and it's not really something that's attainable, right? So we can't do that. Not only that, but maintaining a high level of stability during active development is also incredibly inefficient, okay? This is because it would mean consistently undoing and redoing work that we've done before in order to stabilize the game when the game's design is constantly changing and new features are being added. Not only that, but adding new features risks instability anyway as it is, whether or not we're redoing and undoing work. So,
sounds familiar, right?
This is just something that we can't escape either. And long term, this makes no sense because it would mean that it'll take us like, I don't know, twice as long to finish the game when we could just do it in half the amount of the time if we were to accept some level of growing pains, right? So bear in mind that we've been working on Satisfactory for like 6 or 7 years now. And if we were chasing all these bugs to clean them all up at every possible step of the way, we wouldn't be nearly as far in development as we are now. Financially, this is awful, and then maybe even interest-wise, you guys wouldn't be getting any new stuff, and it would get very boring. You know, the game just might become irrelevant, you know? And so
I mean, like I said, it sounds familiar, and I'm sure there are plenty of people in the chat right now who are like, yeah, I make games, this is pretty standard. But I think sometimes this happens to me for sure. We are so used to only hearing Star Citizen devs talk about their game, and it starts to be like, okay, are you guys, it's getting repetitive. How true is it? And I think obviously there's some truth to it. There's some leaning on that as an excuse at times, but it does help to see other games in active development talking kind of in the same way. So I wanted to talk about that statement that Jace said. I personally love Satisfactory. I don't know about you, but I've played a lot of Satisfactory. It's an amazing game. It's probably one that I would play a lot more if it weren't for Star Citizen, because Satisfactory is another time sink. Those of you who know, we actually have a server. Like, we have a server for our community on Discord. We have a chat channel in the Discord as well for Satisfactory. So we're all about that and fully respect what they're doing over there. But it's nice to hear from them. Similar kind of communication. So that's how I wanted to open up the discussion today. Really wanted to pose the question, are you willing to put up with the amount of bugs that are in Star Citizen? Would you prefer to see them keeping a higher level of stability than they are? Where do you think that balance that Jace is talking about of moving forward and also fixing bugs is? So our first guest today is DJ Catmom, who I'm going to bring in to talk. And before I do, I'd like to start my music again. Thank you. And we might have people who have cameras today. We might not. Actually, no, we can't do any cameras in this channel. So I'll just be playing some like Star Citizen B-roll on the other screen, so you don't have to stare at me in a black screen the whole time. Thanks, though, everybody who's checking in chat for us. Sorry. That's probably kind of loud. Thank you, everybody in chat who's checking in on us and making sure we're okay. We are good. We are well a ways away from the earthquake epicenter. As I said before, we're raising money today on this stream. Anything that we receive today monetarily is going towards recovery for that earthquake. So if you would like to help, that's a way to do so. All right, so let us begin. Get our music. I haven't checked with anybody's mic that they work, but we'll just have to make sure that they do. I'm going to invite you in. There you are. Hello. Give me 1 second. Everybody, can everybody hear the old DJ? I want to make sure, because we had the audio issues today. I'm not looking forward to any more. Whoops. Not seeing anybody in chat giving me the confirmation. No, you're not hearing them. Okay, cool. Good. That's why we checked. All right. Now we have to figure out how to double your audio as well. Wow. See, I'm going to have to track down whatever problem this is too. All right. Can you talk for me again, Catmom?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Can you guys hear that? Somebody must have heard that. Trying to play SC right now, and you've had to log on 3 times in a row because the game won't stop crashing. Oof.
Oh, yeah, looks like it works.
It works. Same workaround. I just have to literally double up the audio output. I have to specifically select an audio output. That's annoying. All right. Well, anyways, disregarding all that, Catmom, thanks for joining me today. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. I hope you are doing good. All things considering.
It's been a day.
Yeah. So bugs, right?
Bugs. Are you let's start with this. How satisfied are you on a scale of 1 to 10 on the balance of bugs versus progress? Or bug fixing versus progress, I guess.
It's very hard to
Hold on a second. We lost audio. What are you doing to me? We lost. Hold on. Give me another test, please. No. What? Yeah? Oh, no, they can. hear me now. Yo. All right, one more time. You should be good now. Try it again.
All right, am I good?
Yeah, how are we? There are now 3 different audio outputs of DJ Catmom. All right, we're good.
Very
Sorry
good.
about that. Go ahead and continue what you were saying.
All right, so basically to reiterate, I play a lot of indie early access games that are very buggy, normally, because they're not done, and I don't really usually normally play like AAA titles. So I'm on a bit of a different spectrum from a lot of like regular players when it comes to bug tolerance, because I encounter just so many of them. And I'm also like very patient towards it. So it's fine. And I perfectly understand what the Satisfactory rep was saying. I don't remember his name, sorry. About the balance of bugs versus development, because obviously you want to first develop everything, because like some part of it will not even make it till the end, so there is no need to fix it. This works good for I guess games that are normally developed, I would say, but with iterative development like that, this is kind of similar to early access. You obviously want to strike some balance, get some content out, because people will be getting bored, but at the same time, if you go producing more and more content, you get into this tech debt for bugs, and eventually there's just so many that the game is completely unplayable, and it'll take you a very long time to figure it out. I think.
So right now, like, we kind of see it bounce around. It doesn't really feel like they hit a patch where they suddenly hit like a lot of stability, right? We got to like 3.15 and it was good, and then 3.16 wasn't too great, and then 3.17 was kind of not great, and 3.17.2 was okay, and like it kept going back and forth. Do you think that they should try and hit a baseline at some point, or should they keep doing the whole release a patch and then do a 0.1 patch for the stability?
Technically, I'd love them to, but I don't think it's realistic right now. Because we just had a major foundational mechanic drop that I don't know what's going on in CIG, but like it sounds like everything just went like upside down when it comes to game code and I'm not a game developer, by the way, just saying, but it feels to me like it's so foundational that a lot of features needed to be rewritten, or at the very least modified to accommodate and to work with PES. And we are not stopping there, because we need to fully integrate PES. Then there's also Gen 12 render. I don't know how much that also has effect on the entirety of the engine. But we're not stopping, because next thing is server meshing in any sort of iteration, because there was like a middle thing before static server meshing drops. So it'll probably be one patch and then server meshing. And then we're on the road to dynamic server meshing, which is also a whole different box of bolts. So now we have the entire foundation of the game getting changed in such a massive way. And obviously it's gonna get a lot of bugs out, but also, is it really worth to do a lot of bug fixing for just PES implementation when we're gonna get server meshing soon, potentially breaking the game again? And I can answer for that because only CIG knows, and I'm not sure if they even know. Because
they probably don't.
Yeah, you can't predict what kind of bugs are gonna pop up, because if you could, you would just write them out of the code while you're writing it. So that's a massive conundrum, and I don't think we'll see a lot of bug stability specifically anytime soon. I think would probably see some server stability for sure as PES kicks in properly and starts servicing all those parts of the game. And servers will increase in performance because the load is getting less taxing for them. Maybe less graphical bugs and stuff like that related to rendering because of Gen 12. It's a newer engine, it's better. It's gonna put less load again on our PCs, on our clients as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. So stability in that regard, bugs specifically.
Do you think that, like, because of the way that they market the game, generally, they get people thinking that it's going to be a pretty solid, stable game? I mean, that's at least what people say when they see the trailers and they hop in and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was an alpha." Do you think they should be trying to match that level of expectation at all?
This is problematic, actually, and I was meaning to also talk about that because, well, first of all, for CIG itself, it's kind of a double-edged sword because they do want new players, but at the same time, they don't want to overpromise because the overpromising is a very short-term gain. So they get a bunch of players in, they reel them in with nice marketing and stuff like that. Look at how our game is so pretty. Because it is. Like, it's easy to market this game with screenshots. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Because it's gorgeous. But once you start to actually play, you're like, oh, okay. All right, this is a whole thing. So the problem here for them is striking that balance of having enough income. I don't know what kind of financial situation they're in. Maybe they have enough money, so they could be a little bit more honest about being buggy, but they kind of are because, I mean, there's disclaimers. There's obviously everything about the game being in development and subject to change, blah, 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 buggy mess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. One problem is the streamers and specifically the newer streamers that started pouring in, and I'm not gonna name drop anyone because I don't remember names, but
Sky Space Tomato.
nah. You're actually pretty honest with the game being buggy mess. But the problem here is when you make a narrative kind of video for Star Citizen, where you have a bit of a cut gameplay, where you have some sort of narration and I don't know, I'm gonna do this thing where we're gonna assault a base or whatever, and it's obviously an edited video where there is no bugs because that's not cinematic and interesting to watch. But after looking at that kind of gameplay, because it is the gameplay video, people are playing the game actively.
Yeah.
You will not get this sense of, oh, damn, they took like an hour to prepare because somebody dropped out of the ship and star map wasn't working, and there was like a couple people were left behind because they figured out we're gonna roll with it and just other people can't even join them because of the bugs.
But is that a problem?
I mean,
because that's true in all games.
Yes, but actually no, because this is actually a very interesting thing. A lot of people kind of, at least at what I've seen, go into Star Citizen with like this kind of AAA background and go, well, yeah, it's buggy, but so was Cyberpunk, and I played it. No, it's not like Cyberpunk. Because everybody dogged on that game, but it was fully playable. Like, what kind of bugs did you have, actually?
I can. We've played the game in the last week, and I can tell you a game-breaking bug that we ran into. But my point's not to say that like it's equal to other games. Just the idea that you will see gameplay videos from all games where people cut out the frustrating bits.
Oh no, that's absolutely true. The problem is the ratio, right? Because it's anecdotal, but when I played Cyberpunk, I basically went through the game and actually didn't encounter groundbreaking bugs. Not to say that they aren't there,
Hmm.
but it's not the same magnitude. Like, you can play Star Citizen for an entire day and achieve nothing because it just hates you today.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. So there is a whole other magnitude, and it's a matter of patience, because people might have patience for one game-breaking bug a day and maybe losing an hour of progress. But then, will they have patience for 4 hour long mission that just bugs out, like
And
we had with Siege of Orison, for example?
that's kind of where I'm headed, is that, like, whose responsibility is it to confirm that that is not how the game plays? Because for me, for instance, I started out learning about DayZ by watching people like Sour Sweet, JLK, and other players who will like put together a really good look of 6 hours of a video condensed down into 50 minutes. And I watched that, and I had to continue telling myself, like, this isn't how the game actually plays. This is just a really good look at it. So at what point do you have to shift that responsibility on the people who make the video as opposed to the people watching it?
A massive problem, because I totally agree that you don't want to like show Star Citizen in its entirety. Like, even disregarding bugs, like, nobody wants to watch 20 minutes of quantum travel.
Right. Yeah.
Or just, gearing up and doing all that sort of stuff. It can take a long time overall until you get to actual sauce, the actual gameplay. I totally agree with that. That's not entertaining.
Hmm.
And it's not entertaining also because you're not like taking part in it. You're just watching somebody going through the motions. In the meantime, they're chatting with friends and they're having fun. Maybe there's something funny going on, which is fine. But normally it's not like super riveting gameplay. You want to see some action, some missions, stuff like that, usually, I
Hmm.
would presume. But at the same time, if those videos go for people who are already playing the game, it's perfect. Like, it's so entertaining to just watch distilled, cool gameplay from Star Citizen. But at the same time, a lot of people, myself included, when they are deciding on whether or not to buy the game, they will go on YouTube, type the name of the game gameplay, and watch the gameplay. And sometimes they will watch a few videos, sometimes they won't. So technically, it's not a responsibility from whoever made the video to market the game. It's not their responsibility that somebody watched the video and spent money on the game. But at the same time, I feel like some disclaimer needs to be there, just for the sake of like ethical consistency. I don't know.
You mean like in the description of the video, or like in the actual video?
Anywhere. Like, if you're here to check if you want to buy the game or not, just be aware that this is an edited footage and a lot of like bugs and stuff were cut out.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, something I like to see is when people do like an edited video, they'll come back and they'll say in the beginning of it, all of this was captured on Twitch show and so. Like, if you want to see the full stream, do that. Because I agree. I mean, I am personally going to make curated, nice narrative gameplay videos, but I also obviously I put all my streams out here with nothing cut out. I think it's reasonable to do both at the very least. Yeah.
Yes, that would be absolutely perfect, actually. That would be a perfect solution. Because when you just put a disclaimer, you're not really giving people the picture of how bad or not it is. But because maybe somebody is patient and doesn't care. Like, I play Star Citizen just fine. I don't get mad or anything. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who enjoy it even more and are even more patient, especially in the community already. So they might be turned off because, oh, okay, this is a buggy mess so hard that there's a disclaimer. I should probably not touch it, which is fair. So having a stream that is unedited for the same footage would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So everybody can see how long it took, what kind of problems they run into. Um, Especially, it would be super cool if every streamer or content creator in general, because usually when you have narrative videos, you have content creators that don't necessarily stream. Sometimes they just do edited videos because that's their style.
Mm-hmm.
But have at least like one video on your channel which you can point at, and this is like a pretty much baseline experience with Star Citizen. If you want to see unedited gameplay, check this video, and see that.
I actually have a video on my second channel titled "My Worst Experience in Star Citizen Ever," something like that. That basically just shows a terrible play session. So whenever, if ever anybody is ever going to be like, "Oh, you only show the curated nice stuff," I'm like, "Go look, it's on here."
Yeah, that is actually a perfect solution. Especially like if you watch through that video and go, okay, well that was pretty bad, but if it's the worst that the game has, then screw it. I'm ready for it. I'm gonna buy it. This is actually a pretty great solution to this because you can watch both sides. You can see the curated gameplay and go like, oh yeah, this is the best that the game has. But you can also see what's the worst it can be.
The best thing we can do is just add context for people who are looking to play.
Yes, absolutely.
But I am going to go ahead and move on to our next speaker. Feel free to hop back in the circle, though we don't have too many people in here. So if you want to talk some more after another guest, feel free.
Roger that.
Thanks again for hopping on, Cat Mom. Good talk.
Thank you.
All right, we've got Zion ready to hop in whenever you are.
Greetings. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Hopefully you guys are doing okay. I've heard you've had it rough this morning.
We are doing all right, man. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
I can sympathize, not trying to get too personal, but I have a brother who lives over in Japan, and he deals with seismic stuff too. So,
yeah, it's a crazy kind of thing. No warnings, no nothing. But we're good up here. Thank you. And for anybody who's wondering what he's talking about, there was an earthquake in our country today. There were 2 earthquakes over 7 in magnitude, and it has devastated a region of the country. So all of the earnings that we make from this stream, from subs or members or anything like that, is going towards helping with the recovery there. So appreciated if you do decide to support. Thank you. In fact, let me double check, make sure I haven't missed anything. Because I don't have these chats up over here. Sorry. Nope. Nothing.
Sorry.
All right. So how's it going, man? We're here to talk about bugs and glitches, all the fun things. How do you feel about them in Star Citizen?
I have had interesting history with them. As you know, I am also a fellow beginning content creator like yourself, but it's difficult when you're a content creator and you want to get into when you're getting into your groove, and how do I put it? You're starting to get your followers in your build up and you're running into game breaking bugs and jank, and it makes it difficult for your followers and your subscribers to understand what's going on in context in the game.
Yeah, the bugs can definitely be a hiccup in content creation and running events. Just in general, something that stands out more than other games is like how often you'll run into something that in another game just works. Like if you drop an object and it just happens to fall through your spaceship, whereas in any other game or most other games you just wouldn't expect that. Sometimes people miss that.
And the real funny thing is, a lot of people don't realize we're technically the spokespeople for this project. Because I don't know if you follow, well, you've done a few videos, I think, on how the large gaming sites have basically said in some instances you can't even pilot the ships and stuff, which is a bald-faced lie, basically.
Yeah, there's and it's hard too, I think, for definitely like streamers and this goes back to what Catmom was saying, like streamers are in this weird place where they can't make videos that inform people. They have to make streams that are interesting, and it's hard to make an interesting stream informing people about bugs and glitches as opposed to just playing the game and making it look fun.
Exactly. It's been interesting, but I've noticed a general downturn in the bugs since I joined in late 2019. That was, I believe, 3.8. There were time periods where I could only play the game maybe an hour. And I would say even the latest patch, I've been talking to some of the oldsters, the people who are, we would be considering the old timers. They've been around since 2.0 days. And they've told me this patch is nowhere near as bad as 3.0.
Yeah, I mean, things were terrible before 3.3, and then even after 3.3, it still wasn't great. I remember we saw all of our frame rates go from like an average of 5 to 10 to like 15 to 25, and everybody was cheering.
Don't get me started on the fact the only place you could launch a large ship was Port Olisar and all the pad ramming.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, the game was a lot buggier before. Nobody wants to be that person that's like, I went through it, you have to go through it too. But it is, I think, something that's worth bringing up because a lot of people straight up say they don't fix bugs. They don't do anything when it comes to stability with this game. And the fact of the matter is they fix a lot of bugs that just keep re-breaking, but the standard that they've set now is already higher than it was even 2 years ago. Do you think it should be higher still, though? Especially now that we're approaching something that is at least reminiscent. And I'm going to stress this hard, folks. Reminiscent. Not close, but reminiscent to a beta.
I think I see where you're going, yeah. 3.0 we're leading into 4.0. With the addition of the extra hard back-end stuff for server meshing static and PES that's going in with 3.18, this patch is going to be very glitchy and very buggy. And the following patches up to 4.0. We're in a long stretch of a lot of problems. But to answer your question directly, Tomato, I would say we're in a better place than we were during the 2.0 to 3.0 transition.
Yeah. Definitely.
If you, like you say, we were in the single frames per second. I have a 3060 graphics card, a very bare minimum basic graphics card for Star Citizen use. And I am pulling in the cities with a lot of players around, typically around 30 to 40 frames per second. True, with 32 gigabytes of RAM, but still, it is a vast improvement. And I've also noticed the server's cap is hovering in the 130s, 140s players now.
I've not really been following it out, to be honest. But I have seen well over 100 people in servers, yeah.
I believe they're doing some back-end testing, even while we're just, preparing for the next patch. I wouldn't put it past them, testing the server stability.
Yeah, I'm sure they're doing some stuff on their own. So FPS obviously has been improving. A lot of the, I would say, the biggest problems people have in terms of glitches are things that affect you the most often. Honestly, not the game breaking bugs. Like you don't see people complaining too repetitively about like a ship randomly blowing up, which ruins your day, but doesn't happen super often. I'm gonna eat my words saying that. But like you see people talk about inventory bugs, equipping a gun and not having it actually equip, or pressing a button and it like doesn't actually click, like these weird, really super common everyday bugs. Do you think that we should be seeing those taken care of? like now?
Yes, with the ISC we just saw with them upcoming with mission stuff, we're having mission related bugs, right? Follow along with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
We need
some
to
missions don't
start
even work.
getting those. Yeah. Sorry to talk over you.
No, no, no. That's you were going.
Definitely the mission system bugs definitely need to be resolved. And the inventory one that's related to it, things like looting, FPS combat, those issues need to be sorted out. I'm sure they're working on it back in, but this is why reporting bugs are so important, and not just the first wave PTU testers should be doing it. Every single person listening to the sound of my voice should be reporting bugs in the game. I know it sounds redundant. I know it sounds dumb. But if you find a bug that is reproducible, report it.
I think another thing that people get frustrated about is when they do report bugs and feel like they don't get worked on. That's actually something that this video that I showed you guys in the beginning with Jace goes over the part right before I started showing you guys. He talks about that, how they have to triage the bugs and pick which ones are most important. Maybe you're feeling, though, like they're not picking the ones that are best for the health of the game?
Possibly. I mean, the elevator bug is a huge interconnected bug. When you think about it, you can't go down to the surface of planets, can't load vehicles, for ships and such.
Is the PTU still broken with that?
I haven't heard in a while. What's chat saying about it?
I have no idea. I haven't been following much, to be honest, recently, but you mentioned the elevator bugs. I was just wondering if that was still going on, because that seemed to have broken it for a lot of people.
That was a really bad bug. And then there's, what's the other one? I remember for the longest time we had the canopy bug on some fighters and stuff. Oh, that was annoying.
I do not know about that one. PTU has plenty of elevator issues, but people couldn't even use the elevator for like a whole day the other day, from what I heard. Only in a couple of spots right now.
Death trap.
Okay, they got a hot fix in. Okay, but yeah, there are bugs like that happen with elevators. There are bugs in inventory, interaction bugs, all kinds of bugs that we just see come back over and over and over and over again, and it gets old for a lot of people, and I think that's part of why this just currently isn't a game for everyone.
It's definitely more of a niche / growing, budding community type project, I guess you would call it.
But then the marketing kind of gets away from that, right? It makes it seem more like it's a large, very well put together, running smoothly kind of thing.
That's kind of what I'm worried about. I'm worried about, how do I put it, Tomato? Overgrowth before the assets are in place. I mean,
you mean like too many people getting involved before the game's ready for them all?
Too many people with too many expectations before too much of the game is implemented.
That's on CIG to set expectations correctly, though.
That is CIG management more specifically. And I don't mean to be critical of them. But for example, right now we have, like I said, a growing populace in Stanton. For example, the promotion stuff for Pyro. Let's talk that for a split second. They have been promoting Pyro for how many years now, with all the bugs going on?
I mean, honestly, it's technically you could say since 2017, since they mentioned Pyro briefly in the stream at that point. But I'm not somebody who's bothered by the constant road to Pyro. I get it.
I like I like having the goal of it, like a goalpost, to go to. But I feel like they're not putting enough milestones, at least in the public eye, you know, for people to recognize and realize, oh, this is going to be a slow grind. People are expecting it to be a quick and steady path.
Yeah, I mean the things that they've set out as milestones are big. They're not. We went a long time, I would say, for like in terms of major back end tech. I think a lot of people the last time you would think they put something in would have been like object container streaming on the server side. That was like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's definitely been a slow crawl. Yeah. In terms of like the major hits.
So continue.
No, I'm done.
Yes, and that's the issue. I mean, we have a lot of bugs, and I'm going to say that PES, okay, it's very complicated. I say the less bugs we have, we iron out as many bugs as possible before we add and dump another complicated service, excuse me, like static server meshing in, because that's going to add a whole new ball of wax.
Might be better to just not fix stuff that might re-break with it, right?
Exactly. Get as many things fixed possible that are possible to fix, without them breaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then just do it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that's going to be the make it and break it moment of this project, I fully believe.
It always comes back to that harsh reality of the fact that as long as the game's being worked on, new bugs are going to just keep coming back, even if they patch them up. And it seems like there's a balance between how often they task people to do that and lose time and progress, and how much they want people to feel like the game is stable.
Honestly, though, the quality of life of this game, even the PTU right now, which is bug riddled, is far more playable than when I first started 3 years ago. I've definitely noticed, like I said at the beginning, a general uptick in quality of life.
Yeah, got way better. Definitely. All right. Zyron, thank you so much for joining me for this one. I am going to bring in the next guest. Looks like we've got Cat Mom lined up again. If you would like to, feel free to hop back in the lineup. We could just keep bouncing back between you both. But thank you so much for joining me. All right, before we move on, I just want to do a couple of shout outs here. Ace Hambone came in with a $10 super chat. Said, it seems by the time they get a patch playable, a new broken batch comes along. True. At times it's true. And Martin came with a €10 super chat as well for the earthquake recovery. Thank you both. Like I said, all of the earnings that we get from this stream are going towards the recovery and the earthquake that hit Turkey today. So appreciate you. And I believe over on Twitch, Reese, we had a subscriber over there from Reese. Thank you so much. 7 months at tier 3. Huge. Thank you, man. I hope the weather's treating you well over there. We miss it. All right. So we're going to bring in Cat Mom again, have another chat about the glitches and the stuff. Enjoying hearing your opinions in the chat, though. Thanks for bouncing off of the conversation going on, folks. And somebody else asked about a Discord. We do have a Discord. That's actually how this show is being done. For anybody who is active in the Discord, you can join these shows once a month and come in and talk about some stuff. And we'll keep expanding on it. Maybe we'll make a way for people to put in questions if they don't want to talk, but still want to be able to throw some stuff in there. But let's bring in Cat Mom and see what they have to say. Let's see.
Hello again.
Yo, welcome back. It's been so long.
Thank you. Yeah, long time no see. I really wanted to address something that Zyron said earlier,
Mhm.
like at the end of the conversation, because I think it's terribly important. So yeah, we're on the road to 4.0, and it seems like we're closer than further away from it. Like considering like the
If you consider
previews.
2012 the start.
Uh, yeah. I mean, even if we consider like 3.0,
Yeah. Yeah,
we're
fair.
we're closer to 4.0
I
than
get what you mean.
3.0, hopefully. Yeah, knock on wood. But we're about to possibly hit another long patch stretch, long testing stretch, kind of similar to PES, because obviously server meshing. I mean, it's a big task. If they implemented in like a quarterly patch, that would be a miracle, to be honest. So I'm fully expecting for them to work on it hard and test it a lot and catch a massive amount of bugs with it. And that is something critically important because I do remember 3.0. I remember when it dropped. I remember waiting for it. I remember getting hyped. 3.0 was supposed to be this big, massive thing that will completely change the game. And in my eyes, it got overhyped and then delayed, which makes the hype cycle prolong and make it worse.
Yeah,
So
that was rough.
eventually, yeah, you go into this sort of resentment, like they're not striking any deadlines, so come on, just give it to us already. And at some point it drops, and it's not gonna live to your expectation, and it didn't, because it was way late, and it wasn't as good as we all kept imagining that it will be. It took them a while to really bring the whole thing into more stability, but more bug fixing. Stability, most importantly, it was really bad. And
So
I, yeah.
so would you actually never mind. Keep going. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, so my point is that we are nearing the same thing with 4.0, and when it drops, and I'm expecting delays. I mean, come on, we're all old school backers here, so we
Weathered.
know we know the drill. Nobody's gonna be surprised. It's fine. But once it hits, it's going to be a second system. I'm sure it's going to get promoted. I'm sure everybody will talk about it and write about it. There's going to be a Kotaku article of after 10 years, Star Citizen finally gets the second star
Oh
system.
my gosh, that's gonna be the whole for months. That's all we're gonna hear. Oh, you finally got the second star system. Well, another 10 years.
Hell yes, absolutely. Like you can see, everybody can see it, how it's gonna play out. So this is a point where CIG really needs to be on top of their game when it comes to intake of new players and state of the game. And I know this is such a massive ask and such a big thing to expect when we are having a massive rework of networking and the most foundational systems of the game, and they have no idea still what kind of problems they might encounter on the way during the implementation. Because as far as I know, I mean, we haven't heard anything about meshing actually getting like tested and succeeding like we did with PES. Because
Well,
with yeah.
if they haven't told us the problems they could have with server meshing, do you do you really think that they don't have any idea what they might run into, or they're just not saying?
I mean, I'm sure they have some idea, but we did have a thing where they said, look, guys, we tested PES on our internal server, and it actually worked. And that was a major breakthrough. A lot of people were talking about it, and it was big news because it is big news. It means that this technology has a great chance of actually working for the game. And here we are now, and it seems like it's fine. It is actually working. It needs some kinks being ironed out, but overall, it's good. We haven't had such a message for server meshing yet, so safe to assume they're still in very early implementations of that system, unless they just don't really want to brag about anything
Honestly,
before.
this was
Yeah.
this month was the first time I'd seen it on a monthly report, I think.
The server meshing?
Any mention of it, at least, yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a big thing, and when 4.0 drops, the game will inevitably get massive publicity because of the pyro, because of all the new features that are gonna drop in, and I mean, come on, like players are gonna start getting back into the game. Those longtime backers that play like once a year or maybe 2 years, just follow the game without even playing, they'll see 4.0, they'll start dropping in, bringing new players in. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff. Like the content creation from Pyro alone, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to have so many videos dropping with people exploring a completely new star system and figuring out everything that it has to offer. We're gonna have a massive intake of players,
It's gonna be
and
it's gonna be funny.
yeah, it will be hectic to say the least. But I think it's very important for CIG to make that experience as best as possible, and not because I wanted to or something. I'm fine. I can wait still. I'm good. But for all the new players that are coming in, if you lose a new player and they refund, for example, because of the state of the game, it's often very hard to bring them back. So they need to be both on point with fixing as many bugs as possible and getting the game as stable as possible, and also notifying everybody, hey, look, this is still gonna be buggy. We just did a foundational thing for the game. Hell, maybe, I don't know, just make a short video that plays in the launcher or something like that. Something that really speaks to people, because there is a disclaimer that is instantly getting clicked through. There needs to be
It
something
pops
very high
up a
profile.
lot. I mean, we used
It
to
does.
not have that.
Yeah.
That thing annoys the crap out of me. But
Yeah, it
like
does.
it's there.
I still haven't read it fully. Like, I know what it says.
Yeah.
I never read the
It's not
entire
for
thing.
us.
Yeah, it clearly isn't, but still, like a lot of people might just consider it just toss, but I guess that's on them. They've been warned.
Right. That's
But
like it's like not waiting until the end of a YouTube video to hear somebody tell you that everything that they just did was staged. It's like
yeah,
you still got to put in the effort to find that out.
yeah, that's very true. That all being said, on a completely different note, I wanted to mention something that maybe not a lot of people notice, especially if they don't deal with a lot of new players. And they're all backers already. I backed in 2013, so I've been here for a long time. And what people who played the game for a long time do is that we unconsciously internalize every workaround that there is into our normal gameplay. So, for example, we can't get to we can get Star Map to work with us, right? It hates us today. We can't use it. So what do? We just boot the jump drive, jump to an OM, try again, or maybe we just directly make jumps because we know more or less where everything is. Like if you're on Microtech, you turn sunward and you see Hurston as one of the markers.
Yeah.
Or Crusader. And this is something that at first we learned in one way or the other. Maybe somebody showed it to us, or we just figured it out on our own. And eventually it's so normalized that right now it's not really, it's a bit of an annoyance, but it's not really a problem. And I personally don't perceive a lot of those as bugs. And the problem here is when you actually get a new player and you are their guide and you're showing them around the game, you actually get to see, holy shit, those are actual problems. Like, people who are completely new, first they need to learn the whole intricacy of the game, which they just dropped in. We had years to learn incrementally all the features, but then every feature has some sort of buggy mess that you need to work around, and we as old players navigate between them seamlessly. Like, it's really rare for an old player to find a bug that completely ends the session. Like, you will go, oh, okay, I'm done. Like, I can't work with this. It's not that often. Usually you'll just navigate through maybe 10 minor bugs and you're fine. You're in the clear. And you're having fun, and then a bug pops up every now and then, and you know what to do with it. Like, oh, I can drink water, so let me just remove my helmet fully, put it in the backpack, or I can't loot a container, so let me ask my teammate to pop the inventory up and close it so I can loot it. For new people, those little things that we don't care about, they can be completely game breaking. I can't get out of bed. Like, I literally heard from one of the players, the new players, they couldn't get out of bed for 3 days.
Yeah, these are like the kind of bugs that, when it comes back to the title of the stream, like, these are the bugs that I want to ask people, how much are you willing to put up with this stuff to play the game? Because I think a lot of people have a gradient of, okay, yeah, I'll put up with some bugs, but if they get too bad or if they get too frequent, then I'm out. And it's part of just playing the game, you know, just like we watched with Satisfactory at the end. There's a level that clearly they get complaints, right? At that there are levels of stability that people want from Satisfactory and they don't feel like they're being met. So my question is, how far are you willing to go?
I'm good with as it is right now. It can be pretty bad at times, but whenever the game just has a day when it hates me so much, I will just play something else. Unless I can't, unless I need to like run an event and there's other people involved and I feel obligated to make it fun, so I try to work with it as much as I can. But otherwise, if I'm starting to lose patience, I will just dip out. Like,
Yeah.
if the game 30Ks on me 2 times, then crashes 2 times, I'm like, okay, that's enough Star Citizen for today.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
The problem here is I can totally sympathize with new players that are just dropping in, and the bugs, the same bugs. Like, if you consider two people that are completely the same level of patience, for an old bugger, they're fine. They get some bugs, but they know how to deal with them. For a new person, that can be completely overwhelming, and it will be completely understandable because they don't know the workarounds. It takes a long time to teach somebody them, even if they have like mentorship for that and place to ask, like in Discord or whatever. But it still takes time, and it can be very overwhelming, and the same person with same level of patience will just completely dip out because that's way too much.
Yeah.
Because something very small can be something very massive for somebody who doesn't know what to do with it. And what I was thinking is that, because usually when I encounter some sort of problem, I tend to think in the direction of finding solutions, because there are some things we can't control, like bugs, absolutely not. That's like, even CIG can't control bugs. They're trying. God bless them. They are trying. But otherwise, we can't really control that part of the game. We can only control the workarounds, but most importantly, as older backers and especially content creators, we can control the knowledge of the workarounds.
Yeah.
And I think it will be extremely important in the future to do something, to have a compilation of those workarounds, like a Star Citizen bug Bible, where you can just Control F, a system like StarMap or Quantum Drive and have like a pill of workarounds that you
It-
can skim through.
It definitely helps to be with someone who already knows the game, because
It does.
it's a game of workarounds. I've got a hypothetical for you,
Yeah.
and before we keep going, just want to give thanks to Board Gamer, came out and gave a raid over on Twitch. Thank you so much. Welcome everybody who came in. We're just doing a quick community stream today where we talk to the Discord community here with the Garden, get some opinions on the topic of the day, today being obviously bugs. And anything that comes into this stream today is going towards help with support for the folks here in Turkey who have been affected by the earthquakes that happened today. But anyways, let's continue. I've got a hypothetical for you.
Yep.
Would you rather they pushed hard to get server meshing and 4.0 out as quickly as possible, get it into the game? Yes, it's buggy. Yes, it's glitchy, but it works and it makes a difference to the game. And we can continue to move forward at basically the same state that we're at right now, but in a server meshed environment. And let's say we got 4.0 at the end of this year. Or would you be more preferential of them pushing server meshing 6 additional months, releasing it next summer, and focusing on making sure that most of the bugs that affect gameplay are taken care of for 4.0, just knowing that they will come back in the future? Basically, I'm asking if you think that 4.0 should be a time for them to showcase the game for a patch and kind of give up some development time to do that.
That's such a hard thing.
It
to
is. That's why I like
answer.
it.
Yeah. But that's a hell of a good question to pirate around. So, personally, if I was the only player that was playing the game, I would go for rush it. Just get it in, get it over with, rip the band-aid. It can be like technically. I'm not saying that CIG should do it. Let's remove all CIG members from this chat so they don't listen in.
Hey man, it's all
But-
hypothetical.
Yeah, it is hypothetical. So technically, I would be fine with the game just breaking completely for 1 quarter if that means that we can just rip the band-aid out and they can deliver a very stable experience by the end of that cycle. Like servers just completely flat out die. I would be fine. I would just play something else for 3 months and then come back to a much, much better experience. In my opinion, that would be better than going for 9 months of complete instability and trying to patch this thing live, and it just doesn't work. But the important thing is that I think there's so much stuff that is getting blocked by server instability and by lacking the proper networking. And other teams are just not able, even if they wanted to. I mean, obviously, a lot of them are working on Squadron 42. But even if they wanted to implement something in Star Citizen, it doesn't make sense because server meshing probably is going to break it. So why bother with that? And they don't even know what kind of environment they're going to be working with for server meshing. Because I presume that's going to be very different because there's a lot of like they were talking about PES, there's a lot of documentation and teaching people from different teams about PES and how it works and how they can implement them that in their own systems and parts of the gameplay. So it's probably going to be exact same case with server meshing. So I want them to go for it, just rip that band-aid out, just make it like live PTU as broken as it can be. I know people will complain, but at least we're gonna break out of those longer patch cycles because PES part patch cycle was painful and a lot of active players left over it. I don't think there was enough content to carry us over. And that's understandable as well because they were working on PS implementation and all that stuff. So I would prefer that kind of situation. However, if the Pyro comes out with 4.0 and server meshing is a ripped band-aid which is broken, the game will be in a very sorry state from public perspective. Like, reputation is gonna have a massive drop.
It
So
honestly, what you're saying takes me back to what Jace was saying in the video at the beginning with Satisfactory.
Mhm.
Like, if they, I wish I could imagine what would be the reality if they both didn't have to keep the constant game actually going, but still got the money they could have gotten from that. Obviously, they made a ton of money because the game is playable. But imagine if they didn't have to make the game playable and they got that money and they could just spend the time on development. I
I
think
think it
about
would
that.
be faster. I think
Yeah.
so. An important part about Squadron 42, which I noticed for myself during the CitizenCon, is that they moved a lot of people to Squadron 42, and that's understandable from like perspective of actually finishing a game and putting it out. But also, the Star Citizen is the open development kind of rolling things. Squadron 42 is closed off, so they can develop it as a traditional game. So they don't have to provide any service. It can be an untextured, barely working alpha where you can spawn with the God mode on a map, like in open space,
Yeah.
spawn a few ships and test them and stuff like that.
Which is
And you
probably why
don't
most of the devs seem to want to work on that instead.
exactly. It's more traditional, so it's a bit of a like a they kind of I don't want to demean CIG for this because I think it was a good decision, but they kind of wiggled out of the open development thing and went back to traditional, and I think it was a good decision because they can make it faster. Obviously, because they don't have to support this living experience, which obviously is also a massive thing and takes a lot of work. What I'm thinking is that I think putting out server meshing and Pyro together in one patch is a bad idea. And I think that Pyro needs to come with 4.0 because server meshing isn't a marketable thing. Server meshing means something to us as old backers, as people who are following the game. If it pops up in like 3.20, let's say, or 3.19, and it's just a patch note, we got server meshing, it's not going to be big news anywhere. When Pyro pops up, it will, no matter the patch. Especially if it's 4.0, but it generally will. So I think they should go with server meshing first, push it out as quickly as possible, fix as many bugs as possible, and then when the game is more stable, drop Pyro on it. Because I know everybody wants Pyro. I mean, maybe not everybody. I don't want to speak for everybody. Some people don't care for Pyro. I don't care for Pyro, personally. This is because I still see a lot of content that can be in Stanton and a lot of enjoyment from the game that can be derived from Stanton and having new missions, having more events going on, having additional locations that can drag players to converge and play together and get that emerging gameplay going on. You could build an entire game out of Stanton alone, and it would be fun.
Yeah.
You absolutely could.
I think
Yeah.
I think the one thing that really Pyro would help with Stanton is just adding more context to how people should behave in Stanton.
Oh,
But other
yes.
than that, I agree with
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. But at the same time, we kind of do have. I mean, let's be real. Pyro will be a different environment. It's gonna be way more lawless, and there's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff going on there with like etiquette and kill on sight rules that are unspoken. Obviously, like right now, if you see a red player, you go for him. If they're blue, usually you leave them alone. In Pyro, it might not be so cut and dry. It also depends on the server, but that's besides the point. So for the content itself, like I said, we can get everything in Stanton for now, and in Stanton we do actually have areas that are kind of pyro-like. So if you go to Korea, you are expecting to. Korea is like little pyro right now, and Jumptown is also a little pyro right now. If you're there, you're expecting to get shot. If you're there, in my opinion, you gave consent to PvP. Because, I mean, let's be honest, those two areas are PvP hotspots. If you didn't know about that because you're new, that's too bad, I guess. Maybe there should be a bit more information about this in the game. But everybody who plays for quite a bit knows that if you go to Jumptown, if you go to Korea, you will probably get shot at by another player. So we can have this kind of gameplay instant and still. It's obviously great to have Pyro with all the new planets to explore, all the new content, all the gangs, and all the different approach to PvP and other players and stuff like that. But I think core of the game and its stability comes first.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to... it looks like we've got Zyron in here again looking to talk, so I'm going to have him come in. Chat Mom, thank you, though, for this talk. This was a good one.
Thank you.
And I'll see you. I'll see you. Maybe you'll come back in.
Roger that. See ya.
See you around. All right.
Back
Darren, how's it
again,
going?
back again.
Yup. How's it going?
Doing okay. How about you?
Good. What did you have to add to the bug discussion?
Well, darn it. Cat Mom brought up some good thoughts and stuff. I mean, with the road to 4.0 like I was starting with, they really have to get their act together. I mean, there's going to be some massive problems going forward if things don't mesh well, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, like things can cascade. Add on top of each other.
Kessler syndrome. Yeah, literally. It's not a great look for a company that's trying to build a game at the moment. I'd almost say
like they shouldn't have bugs stacking up.
minimizing them is a good thing. I think CIG's trying very, very hard. They're not perfect, but they are better than they've been. Like I said, I've noticed a general quality improvement. So I can definitely tell you that's probably attributed to catching the bugs a lot sooner than letting them progress.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could get the bugs quickly, but again, they sometimes seem to run into the problem where they just come back. Like that was one of the big things with the NPCs on chairs. They just kept coming back.
The cult of the T-pose.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, everybody, I'm seeing some questions in chat about how to call in. This is hosted on our Discord server, so for any Discord member who has been active in the server, active being, 10 minutes of chatting, that's generally how you can come in, and then there's an easy channel to check with your microphone and everything, and then you just hop in here, and we pull you in whenever you're ready. Sorry about that, though. Go ahead, Zyron.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely, the bugs have been tamped down, I would definitely say, compared to 2019 and even 2020. I would say they've gotten a better hold on the bugs. Maybe not as much as people would like, but compared to where we were probably when I started playing late 2019, early 2020, I would say we're in a better state to put in, say server meshing was done today and they had to throw it in to the mix today into the PTU 4.0, right?
Mhm.
It would be far better. It would be a far better, probably cohesion than it would be, say, at the start of 2019.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying because in addition to the compounding issues of a brand new patch, you don't want to deal with massive overhead of extra bugs.
So you're saying that the where bugs are right now would be better for server meshing to be added than if it was 2 years ago?
3, yes, exactly. 2019, wait, oh, 2019
Yeah,
beginning
three
would
years
have
ago.
been 4 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
I'd say we're in a way better state than we were almost half a decade ago.
We are. But do you think that the actual bugs themselves would have made server meshing any worse? Do you think basically, do you think no matter what, server meshing is just going to make the game a pain because of the bugs that'll come up
I
anyways?
I believe it will highlight some of the back end problems. That's why they've spent so much time on the back end. They've done probably as much work as they can. So when this new infrastructure takes root, there are probably going to be some hiccups along the way. I'm not expecting a totally easy peasy transition. I don't think anybody is expecting it to be easy, but it
Mm,
could be a rough transition to 4.0.
it will be. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. And I think no matter what, really, 4.0 is going to be a pretty hostile patch for us, to put it lightly.
More than likely, I think the additional weight of putting in an extra solar system might also put some unknown strains to the server.
Sure, true, but that's kind of, they have to do that at some point, right?
We also don't know if they're going to put in the wormhole physics in 4.0 at all, do we?
You mean like the jump points?
Yes. I don't know if they've made that clear yet.
I believe they've said that they want to have jump points in with Pyro.
So, yes, there are probably going to be issues with that off the gate. I mean, think about it. You will probably have legacy connection issues mount up, as well as probably some new connectivity issues between the server shards.
Well, yeah, so that's going to be the whole point of testing server meshing, right? Is that they say Stanton is one server, Pyro is another server, but they're both in the same shard and connected through server meshing. This is how we test the connectivity of it. That would
Right.
be the whole point of 4.0 patch, right?
Exactly. I think a lot of people are also missing that there will also be what are called sectoral shards. Pyro and Stanton are in the same sector of space. Eventually, I think I've heard what will be called an overshard. You know, like where it's like the entire region. So, like Pyro, Nyx, Stanton would be in one large. I don't. I think group of shards. You know.
I honestly couldn't be, I think, bothered to try and understand it, how complicated it's going to all be.
It's
But I
it's going to be a mess.
but I do think that the conversation surrounding glitches and bugs is going to only continue with server meshing, to be honest.
It's going to make things very interesting. I mean, and then we have space stations like Ruin, which are an unknown for bugs. If we think elevators are going to be an issue, say, in places like what's a good example in Stanton? Grimhex, where
Mhm.
there's always issues. Ruin is hundreds of times larger than Grimhex and in a state of disrepair to begin with. So a glitchy elevator is just going to make it even more dangerous.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Zyron. Well, we've got a couple other folks waiting to speak, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going on with the line. But thank you so much for hopping in here and sharing some more about the glitches, the wonderful parts of Star Citizen.
Not a problem.
All right. Appreciate you. Catch you later. All right. Next up, we've got Dutchman coming in, another member of the garden here, ready to talk about our great joy and love, the bug. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Good. Good. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, well,
Why don't you kick us
thanks for
off?
letting me in.
Yeah, for sure.
Kicking this off. Well, I'm not a very, very old Star Citizen player. Like, I joined August last year, so
Mm-hmm.
not the most experience with all the bugs that most have experienced, but definitely experienced bugs.
You got into it though. I remember you jumped in with us in the server and you were playing.
Yeah. I've been playing the game like 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah.
So what's your take on it?
A whole lot.
As a player who jumped in August.
It was definitely not a bad time to jump in. I have many of the bugs in the first 3 weeks I played. Never knew any of the bugs people were talking about. And then suddenly an update came and the bugs happened for me. Yeah. So that was when I got my experience with the bugs and falling through the floor and a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of weird.
I still play it. Yeah. It's really weird. Like, one moment you'll be standing in front of an elevator and forget to make a step back, and you'll just fall to the floor.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes you'll get into a patch and you'll do something you've been doing for patches on end, and suddenly it's glitched.
Yeah. There was a whole lot, like the ghost rocks, as we like to call them. Like, go out rock mining, and the one rock after another, the little rocks were like holograms. They were there, but they were like visual glitches. They weren't there, and you could just walk through them, but you couldn't mine them. Really weird with that. And a whole lot of bugs.
So would you say it ever got to the point where you were discouraged from playing? Like you just wanted to put it down?
Yeah, but that was more what was also going on personal life that made me not being able to cope with the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the game itself, if personal life didn't happen, would not have caused it.
I see. Okay. And when it comes to like the smaller bugs, so you mentioned like falling through an elevator, but let's say, the inventory stuff not showing up. Is that the kind of thing that you look at and you're like, CIG, you actually have to have this fixed? Or are you still kind of looking at that and being like, you know what, I can put up with this for now?
I can put up with a lot. And the most of the bugs are workarounds. And so you try to search for a workaround or just relock, stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes there are things like, all right, come on, like I had a ship, the Pisces, and I wanted to fly with it. It was my only ship at that moment that was available, and I tried to fly away, and I couldn't even open the door. Like, it would not open. Yeah, that was the moment I was like, if people pay money for that, it should work.
Yeah, and that's the argument that people make a lot. Hey, I paid money for this ship. It doesn't have all of its functions, or it's glitched and it's not working. Like, if it's like
yeah, if it's like for a couple of hours, and it's fixed, it's fixed. But it was for a couple of weeks, and yeah, that was not fun.
So those are unacceptable, in your opinion.
Yeah, let's say somebody only has a Pisces and it's their only ship and that bug happens. Yeah, I would say that is unacceptable. Not everybody only has a Pisces, but yeah, for people that do, that would be a complete unacceptable bug that lasts for a long while.
So I would say that probably brings up the best example of bugs in this game. That being the Mustang Alpha. Many people know that the Mustang has been a starter ship for a long time. Since
That
the game
was my
started.
starter ship.
Yeah.
That was my starter ship, and I upgraded the same day
Because
it
was it
kept
because of
killing
the
me.
Yeah. So this is a starter ship, a first step into the verse that was broken for a long time. And I'm gonna say this, I'm fine with ships having bugs. I get that they have bugs. They're very complex pieces of the game. They're not even finished. They're gonna have plenty of bugs. Starter ships should not have bugs though, especially not bugs like that. I think that's definitely
No,
like
that is
poster
absolutely
child.
true, and I completely agree with that. Like, it's the most low entry into the game, but it is the complete entry into the game, and it should just work. Like, if there's a little bug, there's a little bug, but yeah, it should be playable.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, I guess, kind of what I've asked the other people today, and that is, once we get around to 4.0, this is a time where a lot of the bugs that people have had complaints about have been kind of pointed towards the slow server speeds and all that kind of stuff. Are you expecting it to be a less buggy experience after server meshing starts to become more stable, or are you still open to it being the same as it is right now?
Even if it would be the same, I would still play it, and I'm really open-minded. I don't know what to expect. I am still enjoying the game, so even if it is like it is now, I would still play it. If it's less buggy, I would like it even more.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah, I would love it more buggy. Or less buggy. Jesus. Less buggy.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me, CIG, please. It's not an excuse.
No, that's not healthy. No.
But yeah, I do hope that server meshing actually does make a difference in the medium term. Obviously, I don't expect 4.0 itself to be a super hefty stability patch. But I'm hoping we do see some of the stuff clear up after that.
Yeah, that is true.
Was there anything else that you wanted to discuss on the topic?
At the moment, I don't know. No.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me today and hopping into the show. Hope you had fun. Got to say everything you wanted to. If you didn't, feel free to circle back on through if we're still live.
All right.
And I'll catch you later.
Catch you later, mate.
All right. Bye. All right. I have got a few. I've got a few of you to. Let's see. I got a few messages to answer here. I missed a couple of things. We saw some support come in during all of this. Holston Coop doing another membership. You know you're not supposed to do that. That's us. We do that. We need to message that, man. Don't do that. You're a mod. Thank you though for thank you for the membership though, man. Much appreciated. As I've said, all of these proceeds are going to what happened here in Turkey today. Your favorite space cadet, thank you as well for the membership. And Depa, of course, the MVP coming in here as always with $10 super chat. Thank you for the support, buddy. Much appreciated. All right. It's on the auto plan, so no stopping it. That's a terrible excuse. I know services for that. They'll fix you up. They'll get you straight. All right, let me switch up our Bug Smashers episode here. I was concerned that because the Bug Smashers episodes have like cameras on them, people were going to think I was talking to them. But, you know, we could let them know. We'll warn them. All right. We've got not too much longer here. It looks like Dutch, you went into the office and asked to speak again, man. Did you? If you had something else to say, you could have said it. We've got our three guests. We're gonna go through one more time. and then we will probably be all done for the day. So let's bring in DJ Catmom. Let us know what you got to say. Oh wait, hold on. We got a hold on a second. We got a couple of new members there, actually. Sorry, let me pull that up. Oh, gifted members. Wait, hold on. Who be gifted members? Holston Coop. Bruh, what did I just say? Gifted out 5 members to everybody on YouTube. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciated. As I said, that's going to help a lot of people. Guys, the amount of money, the amount of goods that $1 buys in Turkey, already what we've done today is going to feed multiple families probably for multiple days. It's honestly, it's astonishing. Or supplies. They can eat supplies, pillows and blankets and stuff. No, they won't do that. But thank you, seriously, guys. It means a lot. The littlest bits go very far, so it's appreciated. Anyways, Cat Mom, hello, welcome back. Nice to see you.
Hello again. Nice to
Fancy,
see you again
fancy
as well.
running into you here. Wow.
Yeah. It's a
How's
small
it going?
world, right?
How's it going?
It's going good.
Are you doing particularly better or worse than 20 minutes ago?
I am doing better, actually, because
Good to
I
hear.
had a chance to relax from work. I'm actually not working anymore.
Okay, cool. Get your thoughts about
So-
you.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. What do you got for me?
So what I was thinking in the whole direction of how they can play out server meshing versus Pyro that you mentioned before, is that obviously they kind of sort of need Pyro to implement server meshing and test it, because you need that second server to run, so there's a connection between servers and there's players playing on both of them and actually interacting and going between the servers, which is fine. But what if they put 2 servers on Stanton instead? If that's at all feasible, I mean, it should be, because technically that's what we're going for, right?
Yeah.
I believe the first implementation of static meshing that I got this like impression that they're going for 1 server for Stanton, 1 server for Pyro.
Yeah.
But eventually they wanted to scale it up to 1 server per planetary system. So we get 4 servers for Stanton, for example, and maybe 1 big server for like locations outside of those systems. So let's say 5. Why not go with this instead? So when we introduce Pyro, we're introducing a whole bunch of new bugs that don't pertain to server meshing, just Pyro itself. And obviously Pyro needs work as well. Still, there needs to be content put in and bugs resolved, blah, 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 everything. So what if the first server meshing implementation doesn't put the strain of putting the second system in, and just puts the Crusader planetary system on another server? And then you can populate it better. Well, obviously it's quite populated now because Korea is there. It's going to be even more important. Then you got a whole bunch of new stuff with Orison. And you can run events. If you're on Siege of Orison, a lot of players are going to be in that location. Then you can run other dynamic events in that system as well. I believe Ninetales Lockdown also takes place there around Crusader L1. Maybe it's a bit random, but I believe it can be figured out. You can run Jump Town on Yellow and not in other systems, stuff like that. So you can populate it pretty well and have other free planetary systems on a different server and test it that way. How feasible is that? I have no idea. I'm not in CAG, so I don't know. But it's an idea of getting server meshing in without getting Pyro in, because I don't think getting them both in the same patch, as most people expect, is such a good idea, to be honest.
I think that they are in a spot where they got to do it. I mean, they said that they were going to do Pyro with server meshing together, which is kind of holding them to that. But also, they've been working on Pyro for so long. Could you imagine them finishing it and then being like, "But we won't put it in yet." Like they want to make a big splash, you know?
Well, it's also the question of how much of Pyro is actually finished, and what do we consider a finished star system? Because do we consider Stanton? I don't
Ooh,
consider it a
ooh.
finished.
I made a video about that this week. Released it
Yeah.
to supporters. But yeah,
That-
I sympathize with that. It's hard to know what a finished system would be.
and that's an important part of it, because also it's a bit of a thing where they could potentially focus on implementing server meshing and resolving it with every resource that they have, without needing to support Pyro as well. Because I'm sure there are plenty of teams that have those responsibilities meshing together. So if both Pyro and server meshing is implemented at the same time, they will need to do bug fixing for both of them at the same time in one patch.
Yeah.
And that will probably be one of the buggiest patches ever in that case. Potentially the most unstable.
But
Hopefully not.
the hype, dude, it would be so hard to turn away from the hype. I wouldn't be able to, you know?
I
Because
know.
you could. It's like you said, you can't really market server meshing.
I know, and this is important, and this is good. This is perfect, because you can't not market Pyro anymore. This isn't happening. When Pyro drops, it markets itself. That is a given. Like, it's a milestone. Whatever CIG does, it's gonna be written about. Like I said before, there's gonna be articles. Everybody's gonna write about Pyro, and just not Pyro, Star Citizen getting a second star system. Like, it's happening. So when they actually go with it and do it, it's going to be hype and bring new players and bring publicity, no matter what they do. So I think it would be better to just sneak server meshing in first, and then when that's more or less stable, go with the Pyro, and then take the hit of whatever is coming, the publicity, the possible bugs, everything, but not do it at the same time, because I think it's a lot of just a lot to ask from CIG, and also kind of the community, because yeah, it's cool to get a bunch of new features in a massive patch, but at the same time, if they're all buggy and unplayable, and it takes that much longer to resolve them all, that's also not great for the game and for community itself.
But there's a balance, right? Like they gotta say that they're willing to see a certain amount of things be broken, but also say, we're gonna put up with that to still get the patch out, right? Because at the end of the day, there's gonna have to be like a go no go amount of bugs that they're cool with in 4.0.
Absolutely. I mean,
You're just saying that should be higher.
That should be higher, not specifically higher. I think they should give themselves a quarter of a grace period. So let's say we're gonna drop 4.0 with server meshing and Pyro, but much like with PES, we will need to wait 9 months, let's say, for it all to get live. And then potentially we're gonna wait 3 more months for it all to be fixed to a more stable state. Because there's obviously gonna be follow-ups. That's normal and that's understandable. However, what if instead they push server meshing first, give themselves 3 months to have it on live to fix all the issues that might pop up, and then drop Pyro? I don't think 1 quarter is such a massive ask for an endeavor this big. and it will probably be better for CIG itself and better for the player base that gets to play with server meshing. Well, not really play, we won't really notice that much, but the game will probably be way more stable if they drop it all at once.
To be honest, the point you're making, expat Brat in chat, by the way, if you guys want to give a follow, give a shout out there, another Twitch streamer, made a good point that like they could just do that in PTU. They could just have their PTU testing phase. I mean, hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to get to go the way you're talking about, they could technically just be like, okay, in PTU we're going to test it all in Stanton, and then when we go live, we'll push Pyro with it as well after we've gotten rid of those, internal server meshing problems, which
totally.
probably won't take 3 months, but
totally.
however long that is.
It's also a solution. One other solution I can see as well, if they really want to push it all together and they need to test it obviously in PTU for a long time, which is understandable, just give us more bones than you did in 3.18, like before 3.18 and 3.17, because we talked about this on the earlier community opinions, where I mentioned that we didn't have enough content to carry us over through the year. And you were absolutely right that there was some content dropped, but nothing was a really massive patch, and it just grew stale by the end of the year especially. And actually, to be honest, I mentioned that they would do well with dropping another Siege before 3.18 drops live, and they did. So I don't know if somebody was listening in, but thank you if you did. That being said, yeah, just something to carry us over. And I think people will be understanding, because most of the player base, most of the community is understanding about this being massive fundamental systems, and they need a lot of time to figure them out. But at the same time, we are playing the game still. There are some people that took a hiatus and went on to play something else, but a lot of people are actually playing and want to play the game, but just run completely out of content, which could be there. Because they have those dynamic events that are sitting there on the shelf, sadly, and we get them from time to time, but not nearly often enough to have enough fun with them, because there's long stretches of months with just nothing else but just your plain old regular content that everybody's seen already.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that's where it gets rough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Cat Mom, for coming in for last round here on today's show. Appreciate you always. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed your time.
Thank you for having me. I did.
All right. Catch you later. All right. And we'll be moving in Zyron now.
Roger.
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Doing great.
Give me your closing thoughts. Oh, real quick before we get off to it, Diamond Hands, thank you so much for becoming a member on YouTube. Appreciate you. Not only did you help to support the people here in Turkey who are suffering after the disaster, but also exclusive access to the videos that pop up on the channel. We just made a new one. Shows kind of the difference between Stanton now and what we expect it to be with the game developing, and how Star Citizen will be changing as it becomes a full game. Make sure to check that one out. And Vagabond, thank you so much for the $20 super chat, helping with the funds for the good people of Turkey. We'll be sure to give you guys a little looky at all the supplies you've helped fund tomorrow when we go grab them. Thanks again. And Zyron, what do you got for me?
Yes. Well, to add to Cat Mom's comments about the marketing for Pyro is over, that is true. However, a lot of people are forgetting there is, to add to that, CIG is missing that they should be advertising for the next system in line. And
Sorry, did you say the next or the Nix system? Ba-dum.
Yeah. Hey, good call. That was actually funny. But going with that, who remembers playing in Levski all the bugs of Legski? Oh my gosh. The
Lagski?
bugs. That was the community name for Levski because you would get in there and oh my gosh, uh
I
the
still remember the
frames
Great
would
Migration
change.
when like everybody was trapped on Levski and the community had to band together to try and get people out because they all had their spawn spots there. It was, gosh, what was that, like 2018 maybe 2019? That was funny.
Oh, when they were all stuck when it got removed from the game.
It was like, no, it wasn't when they were removed. I can't remember why they got stuck, but something broke with Levski and everybody had to get picked up on the outside instead of getting a ship for themselves.
Man, I missed that. That would have been fun to witness.
It was pretty funny.
But yeah, I mean, Lagski, that was the name for it. And its particular area, like an aerial bug near the Tanaka statue, the frames would drop drastically. It's like kind of like what you would call an aerial effect bug. It's weird. I've never seen anything like that in game until I played at Levski.
Yeah, that was Levski struggled. We'll say that much. But it was the first. It was the first planetary surface we got, and you could tell.
But on that tangent, Levski, Port Olisar, this is going to be a fact of contention with some people. I fully believe everything with old code in the game needs to be retired. Levski, as we know it, is probably already gone and has been rewritten, for the Levski Hospital to be implemented. That's what I believe.
Yeah, they're going to redo that whole place.
I wonder how many bugs are being caused just from having PO in game, as it is. I'm wondering.
Port Olisar specific bugs, you mean?
No, I mean in general. It could be causing a cascade effect in the background. Because you have a 10-year-old code, and then you have a, brand new code. So very different codes kind of working, and they create bugs.
Yeah, I don't know enough to I don't know enough to know really how big of a difference it would make, but I do imagine that the older assets are less efficient. Yeah. I'm sure there are problems. Definitely when it comes to like rendering or loading assets, the shaders they use and stuff like that. Yeah, probably could be updated.
Yes, the sooner the old assets are removed from the game, I'm going to say we're going to see definitely a lot fewer bugs. The old outposts, for example, they have some interesting peculiarities with them. I'd say once this new tool you've been covering, Rastar, gets to the outposts in Stanton, that a lot of the old legacy code will be rewritten for things like ArcCorp 141. What's another one? Shoot. All the legacy outposts.
Yeah.
They'll be rewritten and redone.
Yeah, I think older locations are gonna, I don't have enough knowledge on game development itself to know how they could have specific changes, but I'm sure as they are updating assets and like people are saying in chat with things like Gen 12 and the Vulkan API coming in as well, there will definitely be some general improvements we see over the next like year or so as that stuff gets updated.
That's been my thought for a while with the whole updating of the back end. They're getting ready to do an entire housing demolish on the old code. I think that they're fixing to drastically remove a lot of the bug problems. We're just not seeing it. It's like you're saying, we're not seeing the forest through the trees, that phrase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The tunnel, the light is at the end of the tunnel. It's coming soon.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think there's gonna be some improvements in the bug situation, especially after server meshing. I think there are at least from what CIG is saying, there are a lot of things that they seem to think are related to the server performance.
Definitely. And I would also say the increase in staffing has definitely put more eyes on the bugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing that's going to help is increasing the size of the company. I mean, there's a lot to be said about the financials, but increasing the size of the company, a lot of them will be going towards Squadron 42. But our hopes are that maybe that means, 10 people looking at a single line of code will mean that the code gets fixed faster. So that's how
A
coding
lot of
works.
people
right?
forget this company started in 2012 with 8 employees. 8 employees working on bugs and things. I think we're almost to 1,000 or just barely over.
Yeah, I don't think we're over 1,000 yet. And there's a lot to be said about the amount of employees they have versus the work that they do. I think that's an entirely different conversation, to be honest. But I am interested in seeing how the environment changes with bugs, both regarding the big changes that they're making right now in the game, and also just how the view of the game is changing. Obviously, they're focusing on the new player experience. They're trying to make it more fathomable for new casual players to jump in and play. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle the ongoing bug thing.
Definitely more approachable.
Yeah. All right, Zyron, thank you so much for joining me for today's show. Thanks for dropping it in and sharing your thoughts. Hope you had fun.
Not a problem. Always glad to be here.
Cool. I'll see you in the next one, buddy.
Later.
All right. We're going to bring in our last guest for today, Dutchman. And then before we get finished up for the day, I'm actually going to go back and watch the original video that prompted all this. For those who just got in here, I had put out a little poll here. I think you can see it. On Twitter, kind of asking people about this statement that was made by a company that sounded like Star Citizen. I think was something that we hear a lot from Star Citizen, and I thought was interesting hearing from another company about their game. It's another game that I love, and I was like, I know that this stuff is true across all game development, but you get to this point where you hear Star Citizen people say the same thing so much, you're like, man, CIG just, they say that a lot, and then you hear from someone else, and you're like, what? So I'll play that at the end of this before we go. For anybody who's wondering, it is Satisfactory, and they have a whole segment here where they kind of talk about this. What is the poll? But as you can see, people thought the same as me. Obviously, it's going to be Star Citizen, and from the people I've talked to who work on games, they say it could really be anything. But that's regardless. We're going to bring in our last guest here real quick to talk a little bit more about this stuff, and then we're going to look at that video that I just said and be done for the day. See if there's any questions or anything I need to answer. Super Mac Brother gave us a raid during that discussion. Thank you so much for that, man. You might be gone by now, but appreciate you. Ruboy, thank you for the Prime sub. Much love for anybody who just got in. We are streaming this all here from Turkey, and Turkey has gone through some stuff today. So we're donating all of the proceeds that we get from membership subs or any other kind of things on this stream to the relief efforts going on to help the people who are affected by the earthquake. So if you want to help support, that's an easy way to do so. Thank you if you decide to. This isn't a weekly show. We try to do this monthly. We haven't really gotten a super good schedule for this going yet, but we will. and we want to keep doing it monthly and bring in new topics every time. Oh yeah, no, Rick Soler, you definitely won't get more things done by throwing more people at the problem. And that was, a common topic of discussion regarding Star Citizen over the years, that's for sure. You mentioned in your last stream saying that it's an uphill climb to deal with current player base while trying to break a game for the sake of progress. Yeah, they're going to be struggling with they're going to struggle so much more and more with the complaints about bugs as we get further and further, which is funny because the situation itself is always getting better. But like people who are more sensitive to them will continue to keep coming in. And of course, people will feel less and less willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because of the time that it takes. All right, so we're going to bring in Dutchman here and have our last chat of the day. Dutch. My friend.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, hello.
How you doing? What
I'm
are
doing
your
pretty good.
give me your closing thoughts on today's topic?
Yeah, I've been thinking more about we spoke like 20 minutes ago or so, and I've been thinking more about the bugs, and I'm not familiar with server meshing or what it does, but more went into the bugs, and yeah, there are a whole lot actually that are like they should be fixed.
Okay. Any examples?
Well, one of the most annoying ones, especially when you're out with the orc, is either you're doing combat or something else and you want to refuel your ship. You go to a pad and it won't let you. You go to the next one and it
Yeah,
won't let you.
that one
And
sucks.
you go to the next one and it won't let you. And you just need to get another ship because you just can't refuel. Yeah, that is a really, really annoying one.
It is. And the interesting thing is it used to work. It used to, I mean, it's always been kind of hit or miss, but it used to be a lot more reliable. There used to be times when if you hovered above the pad a certain amount, it would work, but if you were landed on the pad, it wouldn't. It used to be sometimes it would work in one server or another. And I think that's a really good example of the kind of bug that I wouldn't even know how to start to suggest, with my non-game developer brain, where they would start to fix that,
I've done a little bit of coding, but I've never ever done anything like game development. So I don't know what they are doing, and in my eyes, it's magic, and it's good magic.
No, that's not the good magic, right? That's the broken magic.
It's like you change one thing, and another thing happens, regardless of what you want to do. So they can fix one thing, and it breaks another thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. There's also the security scanning you is an annoying one.
Oh my god, yeah, they keep scanning you and keep around you, and when they blow themselves up against a station, you still get a crime set for it.
Yeah.
That's one hell of an annoying one.
So here's I guess a hypothetical for you. Would you prefer that they just straight took out the security feature or kept it in even though it's buggy?
Well, I've been scanned a lot. I haven't had a lot of crime stat because of it. That they kill themselves. One thing that is really annoying that for me they can take it out is when somebody else puts something on the ship, like in the internal storage, it counts as stolen goods. It can be theirs, but for me it counts as stolen goods, and I don't even know it's there. And you immediately get a fine again. That one is like, my God, really?
Yeah.
That's an annoying one. But else, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't happen that often, so I don't mind the scannings. They're always there the moment you don't want them, though.
Mm-hmm. I guess I just wonder where, like, it always is a question in my head when people want bugs to be removed, which bugs are the most important. Because like we've been going back and forth on this whole show with everybody who's come on, some of them are game breaking, but don't happen often. Some of them are not that annoying and also don't happen often, like the scanning bug, like you said. Some of them are not annoying, but happen all the time. And like certain people want certain ones to be gone. So I always wonder what's the most common bugs that people want to be taken care of.
The most common ones. Well, for me, that would definitely be the refueling or repairing, etc. That is
Not
one hell of
not
an irritating bug.
not the most common bug. The bugs that are most commonly wanted to be removed.
Oh, hmm.
Because I think that's hard to nail down. Because
That
I
is
would think
pretty
it would
hard to
be
nail
something
down.
like inventory, but a lot of people, as long as the inventory works, they're not that bothered.
Mine inventory usually works. Like I've had it about 3 times not working, so I'm not hit by that one, but others are hit by it almost every day. And then the question is it something, hardware related, or is it something that happens in game to the person?
Hmm. Looks like in chat, a common mention is mission bugs, missions not working correctly. I would say that's a pretty good one. If there was
Yeah,
something that
that's
they need to
actually a
focus on,
game breaking one.
yeah,
That is a game breaking bug. Like if you want to do bunkers and you can sit there for an hour and won't even spawn in.
yeah, and that's also, players like us who have orgs a little more used to the game, who've been playing for a while. We're doing sandbox stuff. We're hanging out with friends. We know how to go and do something else if a mission isn't working. But new players, missions are the only way that they're really trying to do gameplay at the moment, and that could be really crappy.
I've been there, and yeah, definitely. Like it is like trying to do box delivery missions, and you jump around in the Hurston, and you have 3 packages on board, and it just you are near your drop-off point, and the game crashes. Yeah,
Yeah,
mission gone.
it's frustrating.
That one was really frustrating. Like that made me not play delivery boxes anymore.
I get that. I don't blame you. Well, I think is there anything else that you want to add to finish this discussion off?
I don't know. I really don't know.
No other favorite bugs you want to make a shout out to?
Ooh, my favorite bugs. Well, I do have a bug that I don't mind keeping. When when you need to rehydrate yourself and you start drinking, and you know that your bottle goes empty and it fills up and it goes empty and fills up, goes empty, and you can go
Yeah.
from 10% all the way to 100% in one bottle. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with them keeping that one in.
Yeah, that is nice. It's super, super hydrating water. It's very nice.
Yeah, like you can hydrate and get your food up with a Lux bottle, and just with one bottle all the way to 10 to 100%. When
Yeah.
that happens, yeah, that makes me kind of happy. Those are the fun bugs.
That is a good one. Well, all right, Dutch. Thanks again for coming on and giving us some of your thoughts on the topic.
Thank you for letting me on.
Of course. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
Appreciate you. You too, mate. You too.
All right, folks, that wraps it up for today. Thanks for being active in chat. Thanks for participating, and I was reading what you were saying as much as I could. Thank you for giving your thoughts on the bugs and stuff. I know we had a lot of commentary on whether or not they should be fixed or not. I think, there's a lot of nuance in the conversation. You can't just ask them to make sure everything is cool and clean. But also, it'd be nice if it was pretty stable. How stable? That's for you to decide. I'm going to show you guys the video that brought up this whole topic one last time, and then we're going to do a little raid to somebody who is streaming. I'm not sure who, but we'll find them. We will find them. All right, so just bring this over here. And I'm going to play the entire segment for you, because before I just played the second, he had 2 reasons for why it's hard to keep the bugs getting fixed. I'm going to play the whole thing so you can hear both reasons, because I didn't do that before. Server you're playing on is trying to speak to many other server shards that are all linked to Quantum from what you understand of the economy. Could be Quantum causing problems. Taryn, thank you for the 100 bits for that pizza fund. Appreciate you. All right.
Perfect stability. Okay, so there are some people I have seen online who say there should be no bugs in a game, right? It's unacceptable for there to be bugs. But regardless of whether you're not in early access, having a game that is perfectly bug-free, at least a game as complex as ours.
You guys can hear him, right? I don't want to deal with that again. Are we good? Are we good on the audio side? Please. Ow.
You know, in our particular case where we have 3 million plus people playing on varying hardware with, you know, varying Windows versions and driver versions, they may or may not be up to date, there might be mods involved. 100% stability on all machines is simply not something that is actually viable, and so we need to find an acceptable level of stability. And so that's the first thing that can be detrimental to development. You know, chasing that perfect stability in a game is just going to lead us astray, and it's not really something that's attainable, right? So we can't do that. Not only that, but maintaining a high level of stability during active development is also incredibly inefficient, okay? This is because it would mean consistently undoing and redoing work.
Keep in mind, Sudsy, this isn't the start of the video. We're 2 minutes in. He's basically just going through the different things that people ask about and naming the questions. He's not making a video to explain why they do this.
That we've done before in order to stabilize the game when the game's design is constantly changing and new features are being added. Not only that, but adding new features risks instability anyway as it is, whether or not we're redoing and undoing work. So this is just something that we can't escape either. And long term, this makes no sense because it would mean that it'll take us like, I don't know, twice as long to finish the game when we could just do it in half the amount of the time if we were to accept some level of growing pains, right? So bear in mind that we've been working on Satisfactory for like 6 or 7 years now. And if we were chasing all these bugs to clean them all up at every possible step of the way, we wouldn't be nearly as far in development as we are now. Financially, this is awful, and then maybe even interest-wise, you guys wouldn't be getting any new stuff, and it would get very boring. You know, the game just might become irrelevant, you know? And
so I mean, like I said, it could be any game studio, I guess, saying this stuff, and I think there's a certain level of truth to this. Obviously, some of it is just speaking out for the game itself, but I think there's a lot of truth to this, and we see it in a lot of these games that are early access like this. To be quite honest, Satisfactory, in my opinion, is super freaking stable. I forget that it's an early access game. I have a ton of fun with the game, and I think it runs really well. So I'm surprised that they even have to make a statement like this, but I think it's cool that they shed a little bit of light on it. I always like Coffee Stain, the way that they talk with their community. I really like their developer videos. They're pretty funny. But overall, that was kind of what spawned the whole discussion. This had nothing to do with Star Citizen. It was about Satisfactory, which is just another early access game that I'm interested in. But yeah, that's about it for today, folks. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for sitting through this all this time and listening to us all speak a bunch of nonsense about a buggy game. It's always fun. We will be back on Wednesday, probably with some gameplay. I think we'll be doing something. We might have something special planned, so we'll see. But keep an eye out for what we're talking about, and I'm going to shoot you all on a raid here. Give me 1 second. Where's my music? Did the quakes hit me? No. No, we are pretty far away from where the earthquakes were. It's not been a good day for the country, but we are personally okay. Look stressed? No, I'm good, man. I mean, there were earthquakes, so there is that. Let's see. Star Citizen is currently more stable than the recent Call of Duty. I actually haven't played the recent Call of Duty. Haven't played that game in a while. Let's throw a raid to Blasphemous. All right. Y'all go over there. Hit them up. Say what's up. Doing some Star Citizen. Give them a shout, point out some bugs, talk about them nonstop. Glad to hear it for you and yours. Thank you. Yeah, we're just trying to help raise some money and awareness and send aid if we can to the people who are affected. Thank you, though. Thanks for asking. Thanks again for being here, folks. It's been a fun time, as always. A great old time. And I'll catch you all in the next one on Wednesday. Have a good one.